What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down what's moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid is flat, 217 the low, 224 the high, and you are seeing 16.7 million shares being traded within the first roughly 30 minutes of the trading day. So it is going to get close to the average again, so another very heavy volume day. No official news from Lucid, no SEC filings. You are seeing majority of the stocks really move higher today, and that is because of ultimately what kind of Trump mentioned yesterday. So he did give a lot of countries kind of a deadline of Wednesday to bring their best proposals. If not, they're going to get hit with pretty much tariffs. So it's kind of an interesting negotiation tactic, so we'll have to wait and see how that does play out. We also did have some data jolt numbers, so openings did come in a little bit higher than the forecast. So forecast was 7.05, actual was 7.3, quits was a little bit lower. So I think all in all of this is actually very good data, so that's kind of fueling the market a little bit higher. I think some growth stocks might get dragged down because of this data, because of course good data doesn't necessarily justify rate cuts, so that could really impact the EV sector. But aside from that, like I said, no news, no SEC filings, so this has been very odd, because over the last 5 days down 15%, but absolutely nothing from the company. So when it comes down to it, I've done plenty of videos on some potentials, such as analysts really kind of raising some red flags essentially for Lucid. You have Lucid giving some pretty substantial discounts. This is also now floating around, and it was kind of interesting. There was just random coincidence, but someone sent me this after I was actually looking on Lucid's website. So I was on Lucid's website just kind of essentially looking at a vehicle just to see how much it would essentially cost. I live in Canada on a side note, so that's why it shows in Canadian, but I found it weird that, yeah, you cannot configure, and even at the bottom, no matter what I did, I used Edge, I used Chrome, it still does have an error for the payment estimator. I'm not really sure exactly why, but nonetheless, no matter what I do, there seems to be glitches on their website. So I just thought it was maybe something was happening, but again, afterwards, someone sent me ultimately this, saying that Lucid is, you cannot configure your Lucid Air, and it looks as though that you can't really do anything. So meaning that they want to get rid of pre-existing inventory. As I mentioned yesterday, I think it's up to 31,500 in potential discounts. So Lucid really does want to get rid of their inventory. There's a lot of different ways to interpret that. Of course, they could just be getting rid of their kind of old inventory, cycling out and whatever. So it might be just normal, and that way they can kind of focus on purely just the Gravity, because I think Air has had their time in the sun. Anyone kind of wanting to get an Air, whether it be Pure or AGT or whatever, they would have gotten it already. So I think now Lucid needs to focus on the Gravity. So potentially that could be the reason, or again, a demand issue. There's a lot of different what ifs. I'm sure a lot of people can speculate to no end, but this definitely is what is causing, in my opinion, a lot of the uncertainty associated to Lucid. And I think Lucid's always struggled with that prior to even Mark, even when Peter was CEO. Just Lucid is not transparent whatsoever, and it's unfortunate, right? Because it doesn't take all that much. All you have to say is, hey, we're doing this and we're doing this. We're going to be prioritizing Gravity. It's not that difficult, and I think just with all the uncertainty, people are having some PTSD on the past and assuming the worst. And so essentially, if you do believe in Lucid bigger picture, then obviously take advantage of these prices. I did post this on Twitter yesterday, just more of a FYI. If we kind of look back at historical data, even in March, we did and were roughly around that $3 range, and then in a span of 5 days, we hit a low of $1.99. So in a span of 5 trading days, we kind of went from euphoria to just crap, and then 5 days later, we went back to the 250. So essentially, moral of the story is a lot of what moves Lucid is speculation. A lot of people speculate on partnerships and whatever, but if you do believe in Lucid, take advantage of these prices, because honestly, it might in 5 days from now or potentially even less, you might see a very nice recovery back to that 250 or potentially even higher. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Aside from all of that though, shorts are increasing rather timid today given the data that just came out, but they are increasing 118,000 shares. 31.14% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 383.99 million shares overall are being shorted. So definitely, like, Lucid is fully ingrained by shorts. So it would be, I know I brought this up in the past, so it would be pretty kick-ass to see Mark talk about Lucid and just say, hey, we are here to stay, and anyone shorting us, you're gonna feel the pain. Like, that would be honestly amazing. Palantir CEO did that, except he kind of involved like coke dealers and all this stuff, but still it was very like inspiring. So I think if Mark did that, it would really show that he has pure confidence in Lucid, and he's willing to actually say, hey, anyone shorting is going to be like done. That would be, like I said, pretty good to see for the stock price. But aside from that though, looking at the options, again, factoring in the market's only been open roughly 30 minutes, 209,000 in calls, 11,000 in puts, 69% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. And of the bulls, you see a consensus for it to be kind of between that 2 to 250. Bears are anticipating for it to be still sub 2, and that's been something that they've been kind of sticking to for the last little bit. But aside from that though, these are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So you had a little bit of a string of selling, a string of buying right here. So they're trying to obviously find the happy price right now. Dark pool seems to be very, very quiet, but then again, all of this does kind of match with just the overall somewhat lower-ish volume. So most likely we're not going to have that 200 million kind of day again. So probably settle roughly around that, I'd assume like 90 to 100. But algos are definitely full in force today. With it right now at 219, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 218 is going to be that strong support. So just watch for that overall to hold today, and then $1.99 is going to be the following one. So this is why that 218 is absolutely key to hold. If not, then yeah, you could see a little bit more of a pullback, or like I said, if things change, you could see 248. That's going to be the next strong target / resistance. No new analyst ratings, no articles. They do have their shareholder meeting coming up on June the 5th. Nothing crazy speculative to vote on for that, so it's pretty boring kind of stuff. If you want me to live stream it, I can definitely do so. But like I said, don't anticipate any real price movements because of that. So it is just, yeah, it is just a regular shareholder meeting. As far as right now, it is below all the key pivotal moving averages. So it's really gone to hell over the last little bit. But as I mentioned, things could turn very, very fast. So let me know your viewpoint on that. But one thing that could really stand to benefit it though is it's very oversold. So a good piece of news, like pretty much anything at this stage in the game, because I think Lucid investors are scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to find out exactly what is going on, then Lucid could really move up in reality. And like I said, I think I did a video a couple days back, and all I mentioned is, hey, even about the steel tariffs, all Lucid has to do is put out news saying, hey, we are not really hit by this, and that would be it. No manipulation, nothing along those lines. And even better yet, what they could do is just to address like all these rumors about potentially configuration, like maybe it is just website updates. That's what they are doing. They just, because this isn't the first time that they've kind of messed up on the website, had wrong links and whatever else. So there is human error that does happen, but like I've complained about them in the past, they really need to step up their brand and their imaging, their marketing. And Mark honestly seems all about marketing. So it's definitely, I feel like that is a huge opportunity to improve on. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon and give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.